Well, after a very mixed season, this finale was a mostly great payoff. I think I can kind of see what they're trying to set up now. This was a fantastic heist episode along the lines of Rogue One. And speaking of Rogue One, Saw Gerrera returns in this episode, though I am a bit disappointed at what they did with this character. What he does in this episode makes me think, well, now how are we supposed to root for him in the Rogue One movie, knowing his actions of betraying the Batch in this? I don't know, I feel bad about rooting for him now, knowing that this is what happened before. Sometimes you don't want to know the character's backstory. Sometimes they turn out to be not such a nice person, not such a good person. Also, I loved Krennic's cameo in this episode, mentioning Project Stardust, as you all know, is the Death Star. So I think I'm beginning to see how all the pieces are starting to fall into place for next season, assuming the show gets a season 3, which I hope it does. Because the way this season ended, if it does not get a season 3, I'm going to be so mad. So there was this very emotional moment when Tech sacrificed himself for the Batch and the mission. However, my policy is, unless you actually see the body, they're not dead. I mean, a good example of that is Bucky from the MCU. You never actually saw Bucky fall to his death in Captain America: The First Avenger. You just saw him fall. And of course, they brought him back in Winter Soldier. So we never actually saw Tech's body. We just saw Tech fall. Not necessarily fall to his death. So there's a very high possibility he's still alive somewhere. So I wasn't that emotionally torn about it because, we didn't see a body. So if we'd seen a body, that would have been a different story. But I was I don't know. There's a chance they might bring him back. This isn't the first time people come back from the dead. I mean, even Fives came back in Clone Wars, even if they thought he was dead. So, but that being said, they did take the time to have the characters honor his sacrifice, even if it may not be a permanent sacrifice, especially Omega. And it doesn't make the scene that less impactful, because Omega is still very young. And this is the first time that she's had to witness the death of someone close to her. Whew, she has gone through a lot this season and is by far becoming the most interesting character of the Batch. Now, as far as Sid goes, I really hope she gets what's coming to her after what she did in this episode. She did show a hint of remorse, but I still hope she gets a bit of a swift karma, because that was inexcusable, your betrayal, Sid. I hate you so much for that. And the end of this episode gives us one of the biggest twists, something they were kind of hinting at, because this character also has a New Zealand accent. Well, it's not New Zealand, because New Zealand doesn't exist in Star Wars, but it's the Camino accent, which is the New Zealand accent. Anyway, she has a Camino/New Zealand accent, Dr. Carr. And I was thinking, well, she has the same accent. How many people have this accent that are not clones? She's probably some sort of clone or something. And she's possibly a clone. And I was thinking, okay, maybe she's Omega's mother or something. Now, they never actually confirmed this, but she does refer to herself as Omega's sister. However, I've noticed they've never actually said that Omega is a clone. They've only hinted at it. They've said, oh yeah, she's a clone, but they never really go into how that's possible, how there's a girl clone when Jango is a man. They never really explained how this is possible. So it's possible that maybe they're still lying. There's a possibility that maybe that's Jango's wife or someone else that he knew. Maybe, Omega's sister. I don't know how this could work. So part of me is a bit disappointed that we didn't actually get any answers about Omega or why she's so special. Because like I said, she is by far the most interesting character on this show with the main cast. But they did leave it open for season 3 in a great way. And this episode maybe also kind of hinted as to how Palpatine returned through cloning. Kind of seems like that's what they're setting that up, because I know that's a huge complaint with Rise of Skywalker. They never explained this. There's somehow he returned, and then they hint his cloning. But they're going to probably fix some of the issues with the sequels by going back and fixing them and retconning stuff, which is fine. I'm fine when they do that. I actually kind of like when they do that. Now, my biggest complaint with this season is that it didn't seem to have a clear overarching mission. I'm hoping that next season the narrative flows a little bit better, because this season just seemed like a bunch of side quests for the most part. I'm hoping season 3 gives us a clearer story. This season was 16 episodes, but only a small handful of them felt like they actually furthered the story and character development. A lot of this just felt like filler. So I hope season 3 is a lot more killer and a lot less filler, even if it means cutting back the number of episodes. Honestly, I wouldn't mind a 10-episode season. This was 16 episodes. Scale it back to maybe 10. Give yourself a shorter season and give yourself more time to tell the story and move it along faster. As long as I feel the story is moving along at a better pace, I don't care if it's a shorter season. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I hope we don't have to wait too long for Season 3. I get why Season 2 didn't come out till 2 years later, because production delays because of a certain disease that I'm not going to say on YouTube because they will flag this video for saying it. But now, hopefully, production can kick back in and we get Season 3 a lot more quickly. Let me know what you thought of the finale, as well as your overall thoughts of Season 2 of The Bad Batch.